So, I wanted to talk about the rating system for men that women have, and that also the state uses it too on criminals that they find interesting. But the women use it more than anybody else. The just the rating scale is very simple: 1 through 10 out of 10. You can be a 1, basically subhuman, or you can be a 10. I'm an 8. I'm not very tall, but I'm tall enough to be an 8, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, these numbers don't really matter. These rating systems, or this rating system, what does matter is like how you feel, I guess, like how you perceive and feel and think. I've noticed that like a lot of guys who get labeled 9 out of 10, like if you think of like a guy like Giga Chad, there's actually a guy who's named Giga Chad on Instagram. He's 7 feet tall, and he's like ripped out of his mind and has a huge jaw. Like I'm no Giga Chad, but he's like a high 9 or whatever. And I'm just like a low 8. Anyway, if you know this rating system, then you might know this about yourself just by thinking about what it means to be this number to these women. Rich women or whoever the hell. I don't know. If you're an 8 like me, then you've always intrinsically known that. I don't know. It's like I always feel like I belong outside. Like there's an animal side to me, and there's a man side to me, and I can turn into an animal or be a man or whatever. And it's the same way for I guess it's the same way for anybody, but I don't know. I guess I don't know what I'm trying to highlight. It's not exactly the same for everybody. This instinct isn't exactly the same as what I'm trying to point out. This like sort of animal instinct, or this way of thinking, being able to think, not just in a moral way, but in a way that is intelligent. You really have to be like you're like your brain has to be like the quality of whatever the hell an 8 out of 10 is, to think. And even these guys who are 9s out of 10s or whatever, they can think too, but their thinking is curved by all the violence in the world. Which I can't prevent. I can't prevent it. You'll notice that a lot of like 8s are very violent. At least nowadays. If they're calm, then things are going good, but I don't know. I know I struggle with internal violence and a will to fight, it's like fighting back or fighting something. You always want to fight, or you always want to go out and do something, like fight, do something, talk, make something happen. I don't know. It's just, it's like a curse. Where these 9s out of 10s, I don't know. They don't. At least right now, they're not thinking as much. They have sex a lot more often, which pisses off the 8s and the other men, but not as much as the 8s. And now I've noticed that like a lot of 8 out of 10s are in control, and 7 out of 10s too. If you're a white Christian, it's like the 7s and the 8s. You ever heard the phrase 7, 8, 9? Well, these 7s maybe really would freaking eat a 9. I don't know if they actually would. But I wouldn't, but at the same time, I don't know. I've hit a guy who's 6'2" or whatever. Objectively, he was a 9 out of 10. I punched him in the face. I was in a psych ward in New York, a mental hospital or whatever. I don't believe in this men tall thing. Not all men are tall or whatever. Like if you're an 8, you're probably 5'10" or around there. I'm 5'7", 5'8". I'm just about 5'10", pretty close. Compared to Giga Chad, we're all about 5'10". Anyway, when I was in that psych ward, I had to try to get out somehow because I thought I was going to get killed by some of the people in there just going haywire. Anyway, so I punched him, and then 20 people tackled me. And I stayed up for a while, but they ended up tackling me to the ground. My point is, you really can't. And yeah, a lot of people used to put their trust in these big guys. 9s out of 10s is just the big guys, like the big ones that are like very important and very non-controversial, and they find some way to be a part of the system that highlights how important they are or something. I really don't know. But I hit that guy because I needed to be out of there, and he didn't realize it. He thought, oh, hey, this is a safe place where you can sit down and it's all right, but that's not what was going on in the psych ward at the time. There were people starting to get more active or whatever, some monster-looking people. And so I hit him in the face. And then I talked to this military guy. I told him, I'm just scared. I need to get out of here. And I think 2 weeks later, they got me out. 2 weeks. But hitting somebody and getting tackled changed the whole landscape of the psych ward, like not landscape, but the whole social environment. Not even social, but like it kept me safe. And it's the only thing that kept me safe. It's the only thing that got me out early. Because if you're gonna punch people all the time, and they can't do anything but give you drugs, or lock you in the quiet room for a while, then yeah, I don't know. I'm crazy, okay? I'm crazy. But the word mental, by the way, just means men tall. And that's what they want to get across to you the whole time you're in there. And if you're like me, well, you never believe in these sorts of men, but you're not going to sit there and like suck a cock or fucking say, oh, you're so tall, wow. Like their mothers or something. Like, no. That's really weird, okay? That's really fucked up. So anyway, you can see where this violence in like an 8 out of 10 can begin. And even the 7s out of 10s, they get violent, but they see a lot of what's wrong in the world. Where I get sort of confused on what's wrong or right. I just have to defend myself, and I don't know. I'm not usually very confused on what's wrong or right. But that might just be me personally, but I think a lot of 8s, a lot of men who would be considered 8 out of 10 are like me. They just sort of walk through life having an intrinsic feeling about things. And these 7s, they think, and these 9s, they really, I don't know, it's like they don't think or feel or something. Or maybe they feel, I always thought they felt a lot, probably. I don't know. Anyway, I got out 2 weeks later, and I was in there for a month total. I counted the days, 30 days. And that was, when was that? It was 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago. Anyway, I wish we weren't considered numbers. I wish we weren't considered numbers.